interested about your generation, which we then experience, is this, of course, this blessing, if you like, to live alongside, the goddess as the mother, and this to us quite alien experience of having somebody, God mothering you, in effect, cooking for you and looking after you. I think that one of the things that later generations would be fascinated to hear would be what's that like? I mean, obviously it's very intense. Do any of you have any sort of particular experiences that you can remember where perhaps it dawned? Obviously Linda's first experience was that kind of an experience, but I mean, where it dawned on you that this was God in a special way that you didn't even realise. Another stage that you didn't even realise when you had your self-realisation. Just where you said, oh right, okay, yes, I see.
I've got one.
Start with you.
I was it was when Mother was at Ashley Gardens, and I was she used to work on me an enormous amount because I was she just at one point she said to somebody else, not me, she said I was the worst damaged person she'd ever met, and somebody else said I had half one chakra working still, and I was really seriously bad state. But Mother, in her infinite compassion, used to have me around and work on me. And I remember she used to sort of sit with her foot on my back, and she'd be on the phone or reading a paper or something completely different, move her foot around. And anyway, and I was sitting on the ground and a floor, and she was on her sofa, and behind her was the window. And I remember thinking, I thought, Mother, here you are, you're looking beautiful, and behind you is the sky, and the sky is actually infinite, it goes on forever. And she picked up my thought and she looked at me and she said, yes, what you see is Mataji, but what is behind is vast. That's the story.
Anybody else? All thoughtless. I know, yeah. It doesn't. What about particular experiences about her as the mother then, about giving you advice or doing something for you which was sort of something that touched you in a way that you didn't expect?
She always used to kiss me because I was quite insecure those days. My sort of situation was a little bit unstable legally.
100%.
Because of the visas and etc. So each time Mataji saw me, she used to kiss me or hug me, and I just took it for granted. I was so heartbroken when it stopped, because after a while, I had to be sort of grown-up girl and not needing any more of mother's attention and love. But it was quite extraordinary because I felt I really found my real mother. It was very sort of very personal feelings I had, and I needed that. I needed that very badly, and mother somehow knew that. Mother used to cook for us, and she used to do everything for us, really. She used to entertain us instantly. When we went to Stonehenge, she bought us all ice creams. This was something, we traveled with her at the back of her car. We went to public programs, some of them at the back of her car. And when I first came, to me it was such a normal thing to do. And she used to just be so sweet, and I always, you felt that she knew exactly what you were feeling, what you were thinking, and she would respond to you on a different level. You just knew that she was just like, obviously she was just like your mother. You would imagine the best mother you could ever had, who knew exactly what you wanted, exactly what you needed, sort of like ideal. That was an idea. And for me, it was very moving because I never had this when I was growing up. So it was such a new experience for me, and I really felt like I was reliving my childhood again, and I was really being looked after in many ways. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, she should be spoiling us all the time, and she was more like my mother than my mother, and I remember many times calling her mum by mistake, but she'd know how to touch your heart. Just the way she'd say your name would just spark something in you to melt your heart. She just knew, you know, you can't really put it into words, but that love was there very strongly, you know, and I feel that we all really needed that, you know.
And you two must have you and Derek must have quite a lot of stories from building various houses in various parts of the universe, which the ones I've heard have been hilarious in a lot of ways, you know, sort of in terms of this relationship and the things that happen. Derek, maybe you've got one that you can remember.
Yes, I would say a really nice story happened. There was a time when, this was in '98, and in Cabela, and somebody wanted to be in charge, but Shimaji had said to him, "You should just do carpentry," but he'd taken it badly, so he disappeared. So the next morning I had to go and see Shimaji. So she said, I walked up the stairs and I knew what was going to happen, so I had an old photograph of the house, how it was. So I walked up the stairs and she was sitting outside her room with Sir CP, outside where the two double doors, but just in between the two. And the big doors were open towards the fountain, the other doors were closed. So I walked up and Shimashi's face was completely drained. For 2 weeks, all her windows were boarded up with plastic. She couldn't see no light. And I came up and she said, "You see that angel up on the wall there?" And there was some plaster mouldings had been put. And she said, "John put that there." And I can see the love pouring off of this, you know, little statue. And that's why, because I was looking, I couldn't see anything like pouring off, but she was saying there's you know, all this love pouring from this. There was quite a few angels there, but this particular one, she said, the love is pouring from there. John has put it there. And then she said to me, "See the scaffold outside? The scaffold has to come down or something's going to happen." And immediately I thought, oh my God. It was like, I just imagined apocalypse. The whole of the creation is going to be destroyed. Everything's going to be. So it was like, it's like being in a movie. You see something, oh beautiful, and then suddenly, there's going to be a disaster. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So she said to me, when she's talking about the ganas or the deities, she always says they. So she said, they say, you have to do the job. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, the whole of everything rested on my shoulders. And I'm thinking, I said, you know, what? She said, this scaffold has to come down. I want you to do this for me. And I was like, oh, yes, Your Majesty. So then it was like time stopped still, but then I realized, so I had a photograph in my pocket. So the way how the people were designing it was all wrong, which I knew. So I took the photograph out and I said, Your Majesty, I think if we redesign this plan this way, it will work better. She said, yeah, go ahead, no problem. So I put the photograph in my back in my pocket. And I thought, wow. This is something which has got to be accomplished. But I don't want to see the consequences or think about, well, we just see what happens and maybe, or, you know, some disaster will happen. So in the end, everything worked out. But I was just thinking of how the two things at the same time, within a few seconds, like the moment, And then after it was all resolved, people were ringing up from all over the world saying, Fergie, what's going on? Something's happened in the castle and this and that. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, tell us, you know, there's something going on, because Jokers are quite sensitive. I was trying to fob them off, you know, saying, well, nothing's. He said, no, tell us. So I explained the story of what happened, and they were saying, oh, wow, you know, something had happened, which was part of his story.